Hi guys, it's me, Susan. Welcome to Cruisin' with Susan. Tonight is Sunday, March 29th, 2015. And I've got some what I think are kind of interesting thoughts about online dating when you're older than dirt. Although I think they apply to online dating even when you're younger than dirt, really. Online dating in general, maybe even relationships in general. But I'm going to stick to the online ones for tonight. I've had a few more experiences, but interestingly enough, these experiences have all been in the preliminary stages of since the last time I posted, I actually don't think I've actually met a real life person. I feel like I've been interacting with a ton of people, but if you think about it, they're just random made up people. I mean, you you think about it, I've often thought there could be an app where if you're lonely and you want some attention, or you want to text someone, that this app would actually connect you to an automated response app that knows how to say the right things, and you could just safely have a little fun and get replies on your texting that said, I really dig you, you're really great, you're so pretty, everything you say is wonderful. Of course, if you knew it was automated, I guess it would take some of the fun out of it. But anyway, let me tell you what's some of the stuff that's been happening. It's kind of embarrassing in a way, because once again I'm seeing that I am abundantly human. Even though later on I have insight and I can kind of put it into a framework and tell you about it, when it's happening, it's just really kind of hilarious. So my main point would be to discuss, I guess you could call it risks, although I really don't, I mean, I didn't have any feeling that I was going to be murdered or anything. The risk is more emotional. The risk is of creating a scenario in your mind with someone you literally have never met or even talked to on the phone. That happened to me a few times in the last couple of weeks, and I guess it's normal, but I still have the feeling of wanting to warn you about it. Not really so much warning as raise your level of awareness, because it's really true of any situation where you don't know often as much as you think you do about someone who's presenting themselves to you, regardless of whether it's a salesman that's trying to sell you something or a person who's trying to date you. Anyway, so what has happened is I'm getting one of the things that happened is I'm, for some reason, receiving a lot of interest from men who are much younger than I am. And I have no idea. I think each case is a little different, but I do think there's something wrong with them, quite honestly. I don't think there's anything wrong with me, but I think if you're in your 30s and you're like pursuing I mean, my age is up there on the profile, big as Dallas, 67, okay? That is freaking old. And I've got guys in their 30s contacting me, and the part that's kind of embarrassing is once I got over the feeling of, did you read it wrong or something, or what is wrong with you? I actually found it flattering, even though you have to think there is there is something wrong with them. But anyway, as I actually decided to speak a little further with some of them, because I didn't think it was completely fair. Just like it wouldn't be fair to write someone off because they were too old. Why was I going to do that if they were too young? So I did, and got to know some interesting people. At least who seemed interesting. Again, these are texting relationships, And so what I learned from that is the tendency that I have, and maybe you would have too, to get excited about something with very, very minimal information, minimal knowledge of really anything substantial except what the person themselves have told you, and start projecting all over the place and imagining things, which is fine as long as you don't necessarily act on them. If you do, then you do have to follow some of the basic safety routines, like don't meet them in a dark alley somewhere or something. But anyway, the part I wanted to say is my feeling, what I'm learning from all of this, aside from the fact that most of these things, if you really kind of play them out, find out more about them, or even meet them, in some of the cases of the people that I met the last time I told you about, it's not going to work out. So none of this is really that serious, except for the experience and the experiment of kind of trying to see what it's like to just, how you conduct yourself and what you start thinking about all these different people that you know nothing about. But the issue that I want to mention, the concrete issue that I want to tell you is, I believe you should try to meet the person in person as soon as possible. The longer that you go with either emailing or texting or even talking on the phone, the more room there is to create a fairly elaborate fantasy. Even though the person is telling you more things, you're sharing more things about yourself, but you don't know what it feels like to actually be in their presence. And I think that's a really important starting place for being able to tell, do I want to try to grow this relationship or develop it even on the level of a friendship? There's so much room for fantasy and projection and imagination when you haven't actually seen them, touched them, smelled them even. I mean, there's a whole theory about